everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Erin.
And I'm Mike.
All right. We are talking about a Discovery Channel show today.
Oh, cool. What's it about? Science and space?
Oh, I wish.
War, like war and fighting and jets and tanks.
Well, it's actually about...
Animals. It's about animals and dinosaurs and stuff.
It's about shipping.
Shipping?
Shipping. Like, you know those big cargo ships?
Like pirates on...
more like sailors?
Yeah, like in the Navy, like with aircraft carriers and...
With less fighting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ships with less... You mean those things that carry stuff around the world?
Yeah.
Like boxes full of TVs
Goods.
and cars and clothes and fruit?
Yep, and all of the people who work on them.
Do people shoot them?
Nope.
Are there lasers?
Nope.
Do they carry dinosaurs?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, they might carry dinosaur bones at one point, but...
True!
Yeah.
Are we going to be talking about that?
We are going to be talking about some things that they carry,
Like dinosaur bones?
In day 2.
And robots that kill people?
Not yet, maybe someday in the world, but why don't we just get started and find out what happens?
I'll go get a coffee.
Okay.
Reading.
Mega Shippers Season 2. These days, we live in a connected world. We drink coffee grown in Brazil, wear clothes sewn in India, and drive cars made in Germany. However, just how do these products get from farm and factory to our doorstep? That's the question Discovery Channel is answering with its show Mega Shippers. This program follows the teams that keep the world's cargo moving all year round. It's a difficult job where mistakes can cost hundreds of millions of NT dollars. Those who do it must be able to think on their feet, like the team at Immingham, UK. In one recent episode, they must bring in a 200-meter-long ship carrying 278 million NT dollars worth of fertilizer. To get to the port, the ship must pass through a narrow water gate. However, it's too heavy to steer itself, so the team must pull it through using a tugboat. One mistake and it could crash into the port. It's a huge challenge and proof that there's never a dull day at the docks for these guys.
All right, our article today starts out with an introduction into the TV show. It says, these days, we live in a connected world.
It's true. We were joking around.
Yep.
Yes, moving things around the world isn't the most exciting thing we could talk about.
But it is important.
It's super important. Imagine if all these boats, you know, the big ones that you see in Geelong or down in Kaohsiung or big ports around the world. Imagine if they all stopped even for a day. Suddenly that Uniqlo would be empty. The supermarket would have what? Pineapple? And
mangoes.
Mangoes.
Sometimes.
But forget about finding anything from Japan or any other country. And of course, many stores would shut down because these boats, these ships are what carry basically the economy of the world.
That's right.
Around the world. As the article says, we drink coffee grown in Brazil, wear clothes sewn in India, and drive cars made in Germany. And German cars are really good, but they can't drive across oceans.
Nope, they
yet.
can't.
All right, so all of those things and a million other things that we didn't talk about, those are the things that these very important ships carry, all right? But now we're going to have a look at some grammar. Okay, in that last sentence, we talked about coffee grown in Brazil, or clothes sewn in India, or cars made in Germany. Now, those all feature adjective clauses, which is the topic of our grammar point here. When you have an adjective clause, well, that includes a noun and a participle verb. That would be a verb with an ed or an ing ending. Now, you can cut some of the words out of the clause to make the sentence sound smoother, a little bit less information, but it'll just be easier to say and easy still to understand. For instance, if your sentence is, the man who is walking toward us is my sister's husband. All right, that tells you everything you need to know. There's a man, the man is walking towards us, and that man is my sister's husband. But it is rather a long sentence. Man is the noun, and who is walking toward us is the adjective clause. That's a lot of words in that clause. So the adjective clause has the participle verb walking, right? That's what the man is doing. He is walking. So that means that you can cut some of the words out of that sentence and it will still make perfect sense and save you a lot of time. It says the new sentence can then say, the man walking toward us is my sister's husband. So all that is stuff has been cut out. In the new sentence we cut out, who is has been cut out to make the sentence smoother and shorter. Here's another example. The blue car that was parked in front of our house yesterday is still there now. All right, again, car is the noun, while that was parked in front of our house is the adjective clause. Now let's cut out some of those words. So to make the sentence shorter, you can take out that was, and your new sentence will be, the blue car parked in front of our house yesterday is still there now. All right, so notice it's not the blue car that was parked, just the blue car parked in front of our house. That is how we use adjective clauses to save ourselves time and energy. Back to shipping.
All right, we've got all of these products from other places.
Yes.
But it says, however, just how do these products get from farm and factory to our doorstep? All right, now.
Magic.
Yeah, magic, right?
It's magic.
It's a flying drone.
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos does it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's like Santa.
All right. Okay, we did talk about from farm and factory to doorstep.
Yeah.
Now, a doorstep is just like it sounds. It's a step in front of a door. Now, often houses in the West are built with a little step in front of the door because the door might be a foot or two above the ground, and without the step, it would be more difficult to walk inside.
Yeah.
And what happens basically is if you get something delivered, like a package or some mail, it kind of ends up sitting on your doorstep waiting for you to get home.
There you go, absolutely. And people sometimes will sit on the doorstep, you know, packages can be left there.
Right.
And it also allows you to not get your feet too wet. If it's raining,
Right.
you can go back inside. All right, anyways, back to the article. It says, that's the question. So how do things get from farms and factories to our doorstep, to our homes, to the places we buy them and use them in the cities? That's the question. It says Discovery Channel is answering with its show, Mega Shippers.
Good name.
Mega Shippers.
All right, well, let's learn more about this TV show. It says, this program follows the teams that keep the world's cargo moving all year round. Of course, these people don't get to take vacations for Christmas. We need all of our stuff,
That's
right?
true, and they don't get movies made about them.
Exactly.
You've never seen Fast and Furious ship wars.
No. All right, but so what is cargo? We use that noun cargo. Cargo is any type of goods that are carried by airplane or ship from one place to another. Now, we often see this word combined with plane, like cargo plane, or ship, cargo ship. Now, if we say cargo plane, of course, we know that plane doesn't carry people. People aren't cargo, hopefully. Cargo is only the goods, like the things we buy or our mail and other packages.
That's right. We don't usually say human cargo.
Unless we're talking about some not great things.
No, but passengers would be people. But
Right.
cargo planes, I mean, that's like half of the planes in the world. I think, you know, big companies like UPS or FedEx, all that stuff people order off Amazon that comes around the world. All of that type of stuff is carried by cargo planes and other things on ships as well. Now it says it's a difficult job. Yeah, keeping this stuff organized, making sure everything gets on the boat, getting the boat safely, the ship safely to where it needs to go. It's a difficult job where mistakes can cost hundreds of millions of NT dollars. Of course, if the ship sinks, That's terrible. But even if things are lost or late, or if things get damaged as they're shipping them, as they're moving them around, all of this can cause big problems and cost big money.
That's right. Okay, so with so many mistakes being able to happen in this industry, it says those who do it must be able to think on their feet, like the team at Immingham, UK.
Immingham.
I think I'm saying that okay.
Yeah, that's right. I've just never heard of that place.
All right, so what do you have to do to be in this industry? You have to think on your feet. Now that is today's pocket phrase go, think on one's feet. It is nothing like what Mike is doing, but we are going to find out what it means right now.
Well, that's fine because I'm not thinking.
Pocket phrase go!
怎么办？大家有没有发现我的神灯不见了？因为甲方竟然把神灯偷走了。现在这个精灵就被他操控 ，Aladdin 呢现在也身处险境。我该怎么办呢 ？Come on, Jasmine, you need to think. Yes, I need to think on my feet. 看来我也只能随机应变，靠我的机智和勇气，还有美貌 ，of course， 要战胜坏蛋。对了，刚刚我提到的 think on one's feet， 随机应变，没错，这是要怎么用呢？它就是用在通常你没有时间或者是事前准备，就必须要靠你当下的判断、情况或者是机智做决定。比方像是在学校念书时，如果你有参加这个辩论，你就会知道 ，Good debaters can think on their feet。就是好的辩论家都很会怎么样随机应变，说话反应都很快哦。So now that Jafar has the genie, I need to stay alert and think on my feet. 没错，精灵在甲方的手上，我现在一定要冷静，我要随时保持怎么样灵敏 alert， 随机应变，不然我跟 Aladdin 还有父王都会有生命危险哎。Wish me luck.
Okay, so let's look at sort of an average day in the life of these shipping guys in places like Immingham in the UK. It says in one recent episode of Mega Shippers, is that right? Did I say it? Okay. In one recent episode, they must bring in a 200-meter long ship, that's long, carrying 278 million NT dollars worth of fertilizer.
Gotta grow our plants.
I didn't know fertilizer could come in such large amounts. So this ship is 200 meters long. Basically, think of a soccer field and put another soccer field next to it. That's about how long this ship is.
Right.
So it's really, really big. And it's full of fertilizer.
We'll find out about that in a second.
278 million NT dollars worth of fertilizer. All right. Now, as we mentioned, this is a television show, and this case of this fertilizer on the ship is in a recent episode. Now, this adjective recent is something we use to talk about something from the near past. Okay, it is history. It happened in the past, but not very long ago. Last week, yesterday, last month, even last year could be recent history. If we're talking about 100 years ago, no, absolutely not.
Right.
But something recent happened not too long ago in the past. Here's an example. The most recent Marvel movie was Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
And before that was Captain Marvel, right? Yeah, they had other ones before that. But the most recent is the one that happened just in the nearest past.
Right. Okay, so Mike used the adjective recent to describe the word episode. That's a noun. And an episode, or a TV episode, is a program in a show that you watch. So often one TV show will have many different episodes. So the first episode will tell a small part of a longer story. Then you'll watch the second episode that will continue the story. And you keep watching different episodes, maybe once a week, or sometimes like on Netflix, they all come at the same time and you just watch them for 8 hours in a row.
That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't always happen, but it's basically one small part to tell a longer story over time.
There you go. And we also talked about fertilizer. Now, fertilizer is basically just something that we use to help plants grow.
Right.
Farmers and gardeners will use fertilizer, and it's basically like food for the plants. You put it on the plants, and it sort of goes into the soil through the roots because of rain or water. The plants pick it up, and they grow healthy and strong. It can be made of a lot of different things: nitrogen, phosphorus. Sometimes they use poop from cows or
and
even
animals.
Even people. People poop because all of these things are good for plants.
You know what? It's because they have the nutrients in them, all of those vitamins and chemicals that we need to survive.
The way we eat food for nutrients, fertilizer is for plants.
Exactly. All right. It says here, to get to the port, so we've got this 200-meter long ship, we've got to get it to the port. The ship must pass through a narrow water gate. Okay, so you can think about, like a ship being in the water, right? The port is basically kind of like the harbor where all the ships kind of come in to stop and
load and
unload. Kind of like what you might see in Geelong or Kaohsiung, like we mentioned.
Sure.
And they've got to go, maybe the port isn't as big as obviously the ocean, and they have to go through this gate, right?
Okay.
Because once you get inside the gate, the water will be calm. It won't be like rough or anything like that, right?
Okay, so it's basically like a doorway separating the ocean, the sea, from this port where they can safely load and unload the boat.
Right.
But the problem is this gate, this doorway is very narrow.
That's right. Okay, so what does this adjective mean? Well, narrow is used to describe something that only has a small distance from one end to the other. Now think about the roads in Taiwan.
Okay.
Big, busy highways will have 6 or sometimes even more lanes, making these roads very wide. Lots of cars can drive on them at the same time. But if you drive into the mountains, the roads become much smaller, and sometimes only one car can even drive on it at a time.
That's very narrow.
So we would call these mountain roads narrow. Here's another example. We can't get the sofa into the living room because the door is too narrow.
Oh, okay. So if the sofa
This
is
big.
a meter across, but the doorway is only half a meter across, you can't get it through because it's too narrow. The opposite, something that is very big across, we would say wide.
Right.
All right. So highways are very wide. Mountain roads are those little lanes in the city between small buildings. Those would be narrow.
Right.
All right. So they got to get this big, heavy, and expensive boat through this narrow water gate. However, there's a problem because the boat is so big. It says, however, the boat or the ship, however, it's too heavy to steer itself. So the team must pull it through using a tugboat.
I suppose you got to line it up the right way.
I mean, those big ships, I've heard, if you want to stop one, it takes about 10 kilometers to stop because they're so big and heavy. You can't just say, all right, stop right here, stop it right there. No, it takes a lot to do it. So steering it is very, very difficult and challenging. When you're steering, you're controlling the direction of something. In a car, you steer with the wheel, and that moves the tires. On your bicycle, you have the handlebars. A motorcycle is the same. And you go left, you go right, you go straight, you go around things. You are steering that vehicle.
Right. All right. Well, it says here, one mistake and it could crash into the port.
And that would be, let me guess, bad.
Really bad and
That would be
expensive.
bad.
Let's find out what crash means. All right, let's talk about the verb crash. Now, when something crashes, it hits something else really hard and often does a lot of damage to itself and the thing it hits. Now, we often use the word crash to talk about accidents including vehicles. For example, if a driver hits a scooter with their car, you could say they crashed their car into a scooter. Here's another example. As they dove for the ball, the two basketball players crashed into each other. All right, so, the ship might crash into something.
And it
Not
could
good.
be really bad, of course. And so the article tells us it's a huge challenge and proof that there's never a dull day at the docks for these guys. All right, so it might look, oh, you just put the stuff on the boat and the boat goes. It's easy, right?
Yeah.
No, it's really a challenge in many different ways. Now, what is a challenge? Well, it's a noun, and it's basically a difficult task. You're trying to do something difficult, okay?
Right.
It could be a physical challenge, running a marathon. Wow, that's a big challenge. It could also be a challenge in your school, or a mental challenge, learning a new language, or, you know, getting perfect marks on your test. That would be a challenge. And other things in our life can be a challenge. If you're trying to lose weight, that can be a challenge. If you're trying to just improve yourself in some way, it's often not easy, and if something is not easy, it can be a challenge. For example, it will be a challenge to learn Japanese in a year, but if you work hard, I think you can do it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, this challenge that these people have to do in this TV show is proof of something. Now, proof is anything such as facts, information, ideas, paper, documents, videos, pictures, anything that shows that something is really true and that is not made up or a lie. So what we're saying here basically is that moving this large ship through a narrow dock, it should be enough for you to believe that a day at this job is always interesting or always exciting, right? Now, we also use this term when we talk about the law. So, for example, if the police want to arrest someone, they need proof to show that a person really committed a crime.
Oh, like when Sherlock Holmes finds the fingerprint of the bad guy.
Exactly. Here's an example. There is no proof that this man committed the crime. We must let him go.
But he looks really guilty.
Doesn't matter.
He looks like a bad guy.
That's fine.
No proof?
Nope.
Oh,
Let him
well.
go.
So there you go. It's proof that this job these guys do, shipping things and helping those boats, is a challenge. And every day, well, no day, every day is a challenge. Nothing is ever dull on their job. And if something is dull, the adjective basically means it's boring. It's not interesting.
Right.
If you're sitting there and you're watching a plant grow, that's really dull. Okay, a lot of people might think reading an old book, oh, this is so dull. There's no superheroes in Shakespeare. How dull. Anyway, so if it's not interesting to you, if it doesn't spark your imagination and make you go, wow, cool, I'm learning a lot, or this is interesting, you might feel it's kind of dull. The good news is that as we grow and learn things, we learn that some things that seem dull are actually interesting. And we can learn that from watching cool shows like this. So let's talk about something else on TV that's dull. Lots of people like to watch golf on TV, but I think it's quite dull. It's, you know, it's just these guys hitting a little white ball.
Yeah, my dad likes to watch it, but
Does
me,
he? It's a good time to take a nap.
Yeah, that's what I think. All right, guys, well, we've come to the end of today's article. We will be back tomorrow with more about shipping and mega shippers. But for now, let's go to our For You chat.
For You chat.
All right, we've got a bit of a scenario and a question today to talk about. So I want you to do something first. I want you to think about the things you use every day.
Okay.
Which of them do you think was the most difficult to get to you and why?
Light.
Okay. The sun.
Light from the sun. That was difficult. It needs a sun. It needs a burning hot star.
It takes 8 minutes.
They're not talking about light or air or things we're given by nature. No, they're talking about things that might be sent to us in ships. Well, actually, sometimes when I buy things, one of my favorite things at the supermarket is cheese. And a lot of the I don't know about a lot of cheese that's made here in Taiwan. So sometimes I buy this stuff and it is quite expensive, but then you realize it's from France, it's from Italy, it's from Europe. It has to travel halfway around the world to get here, and cheese you can't just put in a box and send it next month.
Oh, it needs to be in the fridge.
It has to be in the fridge. It has to be fairly fresh. So that's probably one of them.
I would say for me, definitely the food products I like. Maple syrup has to come from Canada. Vanilla to put in your cakes.
Like real
and stuff.
vanilla?
Real vanilla.
Little pods?
That is one of the hardest things in the world to get. So
Really?
that's why it's so expensive too. So
Interesting.
yeah, I use quite a bit of vanilla when I bake, and
Right.
it costs for a small little bottle like this. It costs about 700 NT, and that's because it takes so much work to actually pick the vanilla plants, get them to grow, and then get them here.
But you only use a little
Only
amount.
a little bit, yeah.
Interesting. So where does the vanilla come from? Do
It
you know?
comes from Africa, I believe.
Wow,
There's only
so-
one or two places in the world where the flowers, where it comes from, grows.
There you go. If you're buying anything from outside of Asia, especially here in Taiwan, because we're kind of on the edge of the ocean or on the edge of Asia, we're quite far from a lot of the big areas of
Right.
the world, apart from Asia. So if it's from South America, North America, Africa, Europe, it's got to come
Could take
quite a long
while.
way.
Yeah. All right. Well, what about you guys? You guys can talk about this too.
Okay.
Maybe the toys that you play with or the books that you read come from far away, but you guys can chat about that. We'll be gone for today.
Aw.
I'm back here tomorrow.
Mega shippers!
Bye.
See ya.
Mega Shippers Season 2. These days, we live in a connected world. We drink coffee grown in Brazil, wear clothes sewn in India, and drive cars made in Germany. However, just how do these products get from farm and factory to our doorstep? That's the question Discovery Channel is answering with its show Mega Shippers. This program follows the teams that keep the world's cargo moving all year round. It's a difficult job where mistakes can cost hundreds of millions of NT dollars. Those who do it must be able to think on their feet, like the team at Immingham, UK. In one recent episode, they must bring in a 200-meter-long ship carrying 278 million NT dollars worth of fertilizer. To get to the port, the ship must pass through a narrow water gate. However, it's too heavy to steer itself, so the team must pull it through using a tugboat. One mistake and it could crash into the port. It's a huge challenge and proof that there's never a dull day at the docks for these guys.
Vocabulary Review.
Recent. The recent rains have been good for the plants around here. Narrow. This road is too narrow for two cars to drive on at once. Crash. Please be careful when you're driving. You don't want to crash. Challenge. The challenge I'm facing right now is that I don't have enough time to get everything done. Proof. After a man was killed, the police looked for proof of who had done it. Dull. I'm tired of reading this dull book. I want to try a more interesting one instead.
智慧小补帖
Doorstep. Cargo. Episode. Fertilizer. Steer.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net